All right, we are back, y'all. It's been a very dry winter, so we haven't been putting up a lot of videos, but we do have some on the Fake Football Analyst YouTube. So if you guys want to check that out, it's right there in our YouTube channel. But I'm your host, the most Aaron Cass. We are here with Christian Cruz from Giant Topic. We got a lot to talk about today. We got maybe possible Super Bowl rematch. We got Super Bowl contender teams. We got some signings that happened. I want to start off with this one first so we can get it out of the way. OBJ reunion. What are your thoughts? But first, how are you doing today?
First of all, Aaron, it's very nice being back on the pod with you. Thank you so much for having me on. And I'm doing good. I hope you're doing good as well, my man. Just my quick thoughts on the Odell situation. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like, it wasn't tugging at, my heart a little bit, thinking of the nostalgia and thinking of what could have been with Odell Beckham Jr. Genuinely could have been one of the greatest wide receivers we've ever seen had he stayed healthy, right? But I think for right now with the New York Giants, they have a bunch of threes, and I really do think that when you look at whether how fast Malik Neighbors comes back from his injury, whether you look at just the talent that they have, I mean, a lot of these guys I don't think are that much better than Odell. Now, I do think that he provides a veteran leadership to this locker room. And I think that he can help guys like Malik Neighbors, navigate the NFL media, specifically the New York media, understanding how big Odell of a star was. But I think, for it being a vet minimum, it's a good deal for the New York Giants. And we'll see if he makes a 53-man roster. But I think it's good for both sides.
Yeah, I just wanted to start off with that because as Giants fans, for both of us, I kept seeing a lot of like the nostalgia, like we're getting prime Odell, and unfortunately, that's never going to happen again. It's a good
Right.
story, and honestly, he might not even make this roster just by looking at the depth that the Giants have. It's really going to go between him and Calvin Austin, in all honesty. Because you have Darnell Mooney, he's not going anywhere. I think that's perfect for that system, and Matt Nagy's had him. I think Juju on the beat stays just
I,
because he's been in
I don't
Matt
think he
Nagy's.
does. I don't
You
think he
don't
does. I'll
think?
be honest.
Ooh,
No, I mean, there's
interesting.
been reports, and I've seen a few videos as well. Like he's been dropping balls, and that John
Oh,
Harbaugh's not going to tolerate that. So
true.
if it's between, yeah, I mean, OBJ got some more tread on the tires than Juju Smith-Schuster, but you have someone who, I mean, I was watching a video, Aaron. I don't know if you've seen it, where Odell is doing some workout drills, with the rest of the wide receivers, and these are guys that the New York Giants also signed, such as Braxton Berrios, Juju Smith-Schuster, Calvin Austin. I mean, you saw Jalen Hyatt a little bit, and Odell looked the best when it came to running those routes. I mean, he's a freak athlete, even at his age and the injuries that he's been through. But I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they made Darius Slayton an example. I mean, they save only $100,000, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But
Yeah.
I think he has I'll be honest, if he stays healthy this offseason, I think he has a very solid chance of making the 53-man roster. I
Yeah,
really
and
think he does.
quick note before we move on. Love that
Yeah,
Malachi Fields is getting first team reps.
yeah.
I keep seeing again the comparison was obviously Plaxico. Let's hope he treads more towards Plaxico and not Ramsey's Barden, but I digress. And I
Hey,
wanted to.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I was thinking Hakeem Nicks, but I'll take it.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought of the nostalgia first because we'll start off with the first trade that happened. AJ Brown, the nostalgia of the Patriots. We've seen him wear a Patriots jersey as a kid. He doesn't want to wear number 11 because of Julian Edelman, which is, listen, Julian Edelman is a good Patriots receiver. He's not a Hall of Famer. You could have taken that 11. He's now wearing number one. We kind of saw this coming with the Makai Lemon trade in the draft, and then obviously drafted him, the Hollywood Brown signing. So we kind of saw the pieces of the puzzle with AJ Brown getting shifted out. So, in your opinion, Christian,
Yeah.
is AJ Brown better with the Patriots or are the Eagles better without him?
I think both, if I'm being honest with you. I think AJ Brown will fit what the Patriots like to do in that Josh McDaniels offense. And with Drake May as well, we saw Drake May sling the rock a lot last year. And I do think that they'll have a more balanced running attack, especially with having a second year in Trevion Henderson. But ultimately, I mean, one thing that Drake May has that Jalen Hurts does not have, one, I mean, he's a better processor, right? That's besides the point. But he has a better arm. He's going to target him downfield. He's going to make sure that, his guys downfield get the ball. We saw that with Kayshon Boutte last year, who took a major step forward in this offense. And A.J. Brown coming into this offense solidifies himself as the number one target, regardless of whether we're talking wide receivers or we're talking tight ends. But the flip side to that is for the Philadelphia Eagles, now you have a very complimentary wide receiver room, right? You can have Devonta Smith be your focal point, right? Who, I mean, when you drafted him at, you would hope that he could be a wide receiver one because they picked him within the top 10 of the first round. You don't do that for a number 2 wide receiver. And he's been very productive with Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. But then you also bring in Dontavian Wicks from the Green Bay Packers, who, when he's healthy, he's a very solid receiver. Like you said, you bring in Hollywood Brown, who, he's decent. He's not going to be a game-changing player, but he's not no scrub either, right? And then you draft Mekhi Lemon, who, I mean, we were having conversations on this podcast, which if you have not already, go check out those episodes. But we were having conversations on here about the best wide receivers in this draft class, whether it be Cardinal Tate, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon. I mean, and you could make an argument that it was Mekhi Lemon given the circumstances. If it was healthy, if we're talking about health, if Jordan Tyson is healthy, I think he's the best wide receiver. But if we're talking health, route running, hands, it's Mekhi Lemon. So to answer your question, I think it does help both sides, both the Philadelphia Eagles and both Drake May and A.J. Brown with Patriots.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a stalemate. Like, it's going to be a complimentary trade for each.
Right.
I just feel like with what I saw, I think it was a few days ago with A.J. Brown's knee, where basically it's saying that he needs cortisone shots if he gets hit pretty hard in that knee. So that's a little concerning, considering he's going into year, I believe it's 8 or 9, I think, for A.J. Brown. And the fact that you gave up a first-round pick, which a lot of Patriot fans, I keep seeing, like, oh, well, we'll be in like the 20s, the late 20s. So it's like that first round's nothing. Obviously, a third-round pick, it's really nothing either. It's kind of hit or miss. But yeah, I think it's good. I think it's actually better for the Patriots just because A.J. Brown will be with a coach that never wanted to trade him. I think that's kind of the big thing.
Yes.
As again, I'll say it too. We are Giants fans. We've seen Nick Sirianni. Doesn't look like a lot of players want to be with Nick Sirianni just because of his attitude, how he is, the cockiness, So I can see A.J. Brown trying to leave and get forced out of that. And I think Jet Sweep Josh, I think it's going to be a little bit different. I think it's going to be when he had Randy Moss back in 2007. I think they're going to try to do a lot of deep balls like that connection you were talking about with Drake May. So I think A.J. Brown, I think, is primed for a really good year. I actually think he'll be better than Stephon Diggs was in this offense.
I agree 1,000%. And before we go to the next trade, I want to highlight what you were just saying. Having a seasoned veteran coordinator like Josh McDaniels, who's worked with, if we're talking Randy Moss, if we're talking Julian Edelman, if we're talking, you could throw in Gronk, you could throw in Aaron Hernandez, you could throw in Wes Welker, Devontae Adams. There's so many wide receivers that Josh McDaniels has worked with and that have been very successful in his offense. I have full confidence that A.J. Brown is going to be very productive in this offense. And if he stays healthy, I mean, you're talking about a potential 13 to maybe 14 and a half going to his 1,500-yard wide receiver. I mean, if Stephon Diggs was able to have over 1,000 yards in this offense just this past season, and I think you and I could both agree that Stephon Diggs is no scrub, but he's not on A.J. Brown's level, at least currently, not right now. So you would imagine that if we're factoring health, I mean, A.J. Brown should be a 1,300 leading towards 1,400-yard wide receiver. So I agree. I think that's an excellent point that you made.
Yeah, and to wrap it up with the A.J. Brown trade, as long as he doesn't play a D'Angelo Russell, just stay off the phone. Just stay off the phone.
You're right. You're right.
From what we heard from Eagles fans. So sticking with the Eagles. So we had a big trade, like the biggest trade in a very long time. So Miles Garrett, we're gonna go all
Hmm.
the way from New England all the way to LA. So Miles Garrett on the Cleveland
Cleveland.
Browns was
Yeah.
traded to
Hmm.
the Los Angeles Rams for Jared Verse straight up with I don't was it a first as well in a third
Yes. So
or
I got
fifth?
the compensation here. Jared Verse, a 2027 first round pick, a 2028 second round pick, and a 2029 third round pick.
Oh man, I mean, you know what? At least Les Snead is true to his word, where he's like, "Fuck them picks," because that's
Yeah. Yeah.
thank
No,
God.
you're right. You're right. Oh,
But what I
Eric.
was
Yeah. Yeah. No,
sorry,
no,
what
no,
I was
go.
gonna
No, no,
say
no, go. No. Yeah.
was what I was gonna say was is that the Eagles I'm playing it into as well because the Eagles, the Rams wanted Jalen Carter for Miles Garrett. And the
Mm,
Eagles were like, no, we're not doing that. We want to keep him. So
yeah.
that was a little nuts that I heard that rumor. Imagine having Miles Garrett and Green.
I
But
don't
he
want to even
did.
think about it, man.
But he did restructure his contract, so now it's a 5-year deal for two. I think it was 268 or so. That
Okay.
actually helps out the Rams tremendously. Now, with Miles Garrett here in LA, Jared Verse is in Cleveland. Jared Verse already wants the number 8, so that means Dylan Gabriel's getting cut. Clean your desk, Dylan Gabriel. He just took that like it was nothing. A two-parter. They're Rams Super Bowl contender teams, and then two is Aaron Donald coming back. I say no.
Wow. So to answer the Aaron Donald thing, I think it's possible. I mean, I don't know if you've watched his Instagram recently. I've been looking at some of his videos and some of his stories, and he looks like he hasn't missed a beat. I mean, this guy is working out hard. Now, I don't think it would be that hard for him to get in quote unquote football shape, but I mean, you look at him, I mean, he looks like he hasn't missed a step at all. And I think if you add a Miles Garrett, I could see a situation where if the Rams are looking like they're going to go into the postseason and it's pretty like convincing, I could see him coming out of retirement and being like, hey, let me go get this other ring with the Los Angeles Rams. Listen, I got to be honest with you. I think this is another excellent trade for both teams. I mean, obviously, it's hard to give up Miles Garrett, but the Cleveland Browns should have been giving up Miles Garrett because they were in no position to be holding on to a player of the of talent that Miles Garrett was. When you look at the holes that they had, especially at the quarterback position, now you give that to the Rams. That makes them a Super Bowl contender. To answer your question, in my opinion, I think they were because I thought they were Super Bowl contenders last year, and they were very close to getting to the Super Bowl. So Miles Garrett definitely adds to that. Now for the Browns, I mean the Cleveland Browns, I mean they get a lot of flack and rightfully so, but you get Jared Verse, who he's a rising star at the defensive end position. I mean he's no slouch. Right, Jared Verse, he's a bull rushing defensive end. He's going to get to the quarterback. And when you look at the moves that they've made on the defense specifically, right? I mean, they've had a top 2 defense the last few years. Right now, Jim Schwartz is there, so that factors in. But you do get a first round pick on top of already having, I believe they have 1 or 2 first round picks already, right? So you have that in a loaded draft class this upcoming season. You have some talent already on the team. If the quarterback position kind of works itself out, whether that's Shador or maybe a resurgence with Deshaun Watson, you have a plethora of picks. If it doesn't work, you have a plethora of picks and still have young talent on that team. So I think it's a good selection for both teams, man.
Yeah, I just think with Jared Verse, it's like a double-edged sword. He's not that Miles Garrett type where which we saw last year. Miles Garrett literally had like 5 sacks in one game and the Browns lost.
Yeah,
I don't think he can pull up to like that potential, but I do think because he's heading into his prime for defensive ends, I think he's going to like explode with
absolutely.
Cleveland just because it's Cleveland. And with Miles Garrett for the Rams, I think it's I think it's even better because now he's in a winning culture. I believe it was either Matt Stafford or Sean McVay said we can score points. We just have to defend the other team from not scoring more. So I think with that, That's where Miles Garrett comes in. I do think that the Rams, it was a necessary trade, and the fact that he basically did like a 5-year deal, like restructured it to a way to help the Rams and their salary cap. Plus, I can't not give credit to Cleveland because Miles Garrett did want to get traded. What was it, last year
Correct.
when
Yeah.
he
The
was a
last
free
two
agent, and
years.
they were like, we'll give you a 10-year deal. So it's like we all thought that was crazy at that moment. And even I was like, dude, 10 years, like he just wants the money, like he's gonna stay in Cleveland, just rot there. So I mean, it's good on Cleveland's part for not bucking, I guess, and just trading Miles Garrett just for whatever. But the fact that they
Right.
have a lesser version of him in Jared Verse, I think goes well too. Um,
I agree.
but
But Aaron,
yeah,
to, to, to add to your point, right? I don't think any player, regardless of what team they were going to trade with, is going to live up to the expectations of Miles Garrett. But when you do add Jared Verse into the mix, you get a very productive defensive end on a rookie contract. So
true.
you're helping your team out if we're talking about the cap and future perspective, right? But what I love for the Rams, right? They've made picks, or excuse me, they've made moves, whether it's via trade or whether it's through the draft this offseason, that tells you that they're not only focusing on winning now, they're focused on winning for the next decade, right? I mean, you go and you trade for Trent McDuffie. You go and you get let me pull it up here. Where is he at right here? You go and you get Jalen Watson also from the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they had already a fairly decent secondary. I mean, it was kind of a weakness to their defense last year, but I thought Emmanuel Forbes actually took a step forward in this defense. But
I agree.
when you look at the defensive line, right, Miles Garrett, Byron Young, who, in my honest opinion, I think is very underrated. You have Braden Fisk, right, who you selected, right, defensive end. Puna Ford, right in the middle at nose tackle. I mean, this should be a revamped defense. And when you add in Miles Garrett, he makes your defensive line better. He makes your linebackers better. He makes your quarterbacks better. He makes your team better. And he's going to be on a team, Aaron, that you and I could agree is not going to be playing from behind the way that Cleveland has been since he's been there. So this is, I mean, it's a blockbuster trade, but ultimately, I mean, this was a phenomenal trade for both sides, in my opinion.
Yeah. And so now that these trades have happened, do we see a Rams Patriots part three?
Not right now. I don't think the Patriots go all the way back. I think the Rams are more likely. And if you're a betting man, I would bet on the Rams. But I think with the Patrick Mahomes coming back, Josh Allen, which we're going to talk about in a sec with one of the trades that the Bills did to help out Josh Allen in that wide receiver room. Um, I just I just think that there's teams that are much better than them that are going to be not just healthy this time around, and obviously health factors into this game that we love watching. But I mean, I think you and I could agree that that was probably the most undeserving Super Bowl team that we've seen in quite some time. I mean, if we're talking about if the Broncos just have a healthy Bo Nix or an average quarterback, they win that game. If CJ Stroud plays like an average quarterback and not how he's been playing, the Texans win that game. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
I just think that they're in a position right now where they have a young nucleus. They got a taste of what winning is. I think they will be a double-digit winning team, but I just don't see them, going back to the Super Bowl. So
Right. All right, so we'll talk about a team that they made a trade because obviously the Patriots, when you go to the Super Bowl, you have to be better than them. The Buffalo
absolutely,
Bills.
yep.
Josh Allen has a new weapon. It's not
Mhm.
Stephon Diggs, but it's a guy who's been around the block a bit too, DJ
Mhm.
Moore. Now, is this a bigger upgrade for Josh Allen, or is it kind of just there just because he needs a receiver and Joe Brady doesn't trust Keon Coleman?
Um, I think this is an upgrade to the wide receiver room. I think in Chicago, you saw moments with DJ Moore where, I mean, he looked like a very productive wide receiver. And even when he was with Justin Fields, you saw that he was a productive receiver. But you add in Roma Dunze, you add in, I'm forgetting his name, who they selected. I believe it was in
Oh,
the first or the second round.
Colson Loveland.
Colston
Tight
Loveland.
end, yeah.
You add him in. They also just drafted another rookie wide receiver this past, not
Of
this
course
past
they did.
draft, but the draft before. So you have a pretty stacked wide receiver room, and when you factor in DJ Moore's age, he's kind of the odd one out. Now the flip side to that for the Buffalo Bills, I mean, this is something that the Buffalo Bills needed. I mean, their wide receiver room last year was absolutely horrendous, and it didn't help the fact that Keon Coleman hasn't been playing that good. I will say this much, though. I do think that Keon Coleman will have a better season this upcoming year. And I think that when you factor in DJ Moore, I think we could potentially see his best season yet. Now, I'm trying to approach it, not considering the Amari Cooper situation where they traded for Amari Cooper and they were hoping that he would be this productive wide receiver. And then he just kind of got buried in the depth chart and ultimately got cut. So I don't think it's going to be that kind of a situation. But I think that DJ Moore does upgrade this wide receiver room for what it was. By how much? I mean, we'll see.
So what you're saying is you're going to go the Steve Smith route. You would put DJ Moore as your flex and not let him rot on the bench in fantasy, even though we're not a fantasy football pod.
I personally wouldn't, but I wouldn't hate it if someone did. I wouldn't, but I wouldn't hate it if someone did.
Yeah.
But,
I think I'd have to go with Steve Smith, not put him in my flex. I tried that last year for the Bears, and it did not end well for me, but that's just me. Before we get out of here, there were a few signings, some extensions. Drake London signed a 4-year deal to stay in Atlanta.
true.
So I guess he really likes Kevin Stefanski if he's going to sign a 4-year deal. And Christian Watson, this one was a little interesting. He signed a 4-year deal as well to stay in Green Bay. I kind of want to hear your thoughts on this one because he has been a little bit injury prone. They did lose Dontavian Wicks. Was this more of like a reach signing, or do the Packers really believe in Christian Watson?
I really do think that it's kind of both. I think the Packers do believe that when Christian Watson is healthy, he's a good wide receiver for them. He's a reliable downfield target. But the problem is that he can't stay on the field. Now, when you factor in that this is a 4-year deal, it's worth over $110 million. I mean, with $31 million guaranteed, $31 million as a signing bonus. It is kind of a lot. I mean, it is a lot. When you factor in that this guy hasn't had more than 800 yards in a single season, when you factor in that he can't stay healthy, yeah, it reeks of holy overpay. I mean, it's insane. Just how much Green Bay really coughed up to pay him. Now they must believe in him more than anybody else because I don't think that he would have gotten this on the open market. But it's a lot. It's a lot. And when you have teams like the Rams who haven't paid Puka Nacua yet, I don't know, man. It's a lot. When you have the Giants who got Malik Neighbors coming up, I mean, he got $92 million guaranteed. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of damn money.
At least for Drake London, like that, a lot of damn money for Drake London makes absolute sense.
It does. It does. Now, I mean, like I said, if he stays healthy, which that's a huge if when you have a player like Christian Watson who's consistently injured. But if he does, I mean, you're banking on him to, be that guy for you. I mean, I kind of question now the confidence in Matthew Golden because I really do think that they could have replaced Christian Watson's production. I would have let him play it out this year, see how he is, and if not, I could probably find a Christian Watson next year in the draft. I just drafted a first-round wide receiver. We're hoping he develops. I mean, you look at the wide receiver market coming up this offseason. It's a lot of money for Christian Watson. For me personally. For me.
Yeah.
No.
Speaking of Green Bay, Josh Sweat, I was seeing reports that he hasn't been to OTAs. The Cardinals are trying to trade him to the Packers. Obviously, his old head coach / defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon is now the defensive coordinator for the Packers. Micah Parsons will not be suited up until October. Do you see Josh Sweat getting traded at all from Arizona, or can the other LaFleur, can't think of his first name, too
Matt.
many LaFleurs. Do you think that he will stay in Arizona, or will he try to get into Green Bay somehow?
I don't know if necessarily Green Bay, but I could see him being moved. I don't think Arizona wants to move him. I think Arizona thinks that they have a young nucleus that could potentially be very good. They need a quarterback, but I think that they believe that they have a fairly solid nucleus, and they're hoping that Josh Sweat's a part of that. Now, to kind of add on to this, when you are the Green Bay Packers, who just traded Rashawn Gary to the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, I would probably look to add to this defensive line room because you don't know how soon Micah Parsons is going to be able to come back. I was reading some reports within the last couple of days. One was from Ian Rappaport stating, kind of hinting at that he wouldn't be available till later in the season, probably around October. So if that's the case, yeah, you would want to add some, a guy like Josh Sweat who could come in and be productive. He has familiarity with the scheme as well, so I think that he can come right in and be an impactful player. But I just don't think that the Arizona Cardinals are looking to trade him. But it's just been a bad move overall. He hasn't shown up. He didn't show up to the Jets. He didn't show up to the OTAs for the Cardinals. So we'll see what happens. But I don't think they want to give up on him.
Yeah, I don't think they want him, but I just think the Cardinals, I think, are worse than most teams. I think them and the Browns are kind of like neck and neck. And excuse me, they do have a quarterback, Carson Beck. Okay, he's only 25.
I'm sorry. I got the Miami fan here. I'm sorry. My apologies, guys. I'm sorry, chat. My bad.
Before we get out of here, though, final thoughts.
So look, I mean, I just want to briefly go through some of these other trades real quick, and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts on all of these trades. So obviously, you have the A.J. Brown and Myles Garrett situation. You have DJ Moore getting traded to the Buffalo Bills, to Rob Johnson from the Bills to the Las Vegas Raiders. Geno Smith was traded from the Raiders to the Jets. Resurgence? Hey, we'll see. Probably not, but hey, we'll see what happens. Michael Pittman Jr. was traded from the Indianapolis Colts to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I actually like that trade a lot for the Steelers. I think that he's a reliable target for that wide receiver room, who now, I mean, I think he could be more productive than Calvin Austin was, who was actually fairly productive for Pittsburgh. Rashawn Gary, like I mentioned earlier, was traded from Green Bay to Dallas, and then Trent McDuffie was traded from Kansas City to the Los Angeles Rams. All in all, I think this offseason was very productive. It was a blockbuster offseason for the NFL. I think NFL fans all around could appreciate the rapid moves right throughout the offseason, especially during the month of March. But when you have big trades like A.J. Brown, which we expected to happen, right? But then Myles Garrett, I mean, I don't think anybody expected to happen this year, right? Especially after signing his extension this past offseason. So for me, very, very entertaining offseason for all teams, whether it's via the draft or trade. And I think we're going to have a very fun season, especially if, you're a fan of the Los Angeles Rams. And I think if you're a Seahawks fan, like my boy Doug is, you got to be, excited for those Rams matchups with the Seahawks, because you're talking about a Super Bowl contending team versus these Super Bowl champs. So I think that's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, that's going to be good because the Rams have a big score to settle with Seattle, that's for sure. So
I agree.
I think that's going to be really good. My final thoughts is obviously make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube. Big Football Analysts is a little bell that goes ding. Make sure you guys hit that. Make sure you guys also follow us. I've been slacking a little bit. It's been very busy. I will be putting up stuff on TikTok, and I'm usually pretty active on Twitter for the Fake Football Analyst. Make sure you guys follow Christian over here, the Giants topic. He isn't putting up videos on TikTok, but he is putting up on signings, trades, or drafts, or anything like that for Giants stuff. So any Giants fans with Giants content, make sure you go hit that little follow button on TikTok because he's always active. perspective on that one. And as always, black people matter, not just when it's convenient, as Hollywood Ray would say. This has been another episode of the Fake Football Analyst. I'm your host of the most, Aaron Cass. We have Christian Cruz here from the Giant Topic. Oh, see, look at that. See you when we see you. Peace.